and the first thing that I wanted to bring up was she was asked the question, were you the villain? Were you the villain? So I'm going to go ahead and play a little snippet of that, and then we're going to go ahead and start to break it down.
You became the villain.
Well,
were you the villain for a while?
I just didn't give a fuck because at the end of the day, you guys are gonna sit here and talk about winning and losing, and it's as if it was just that simple.
And it's not.
No, let her go. Let her go. I want to hear what she got.
Because the reality is that I'm a hopeful romantic. I left my child's father for the 89th time. That he's a liar and a cheater. Okay, that's the only reason I left. It's just that simple. But for some reason, in the world that we live in today, I am painted as a gold digger, a man eater, all these different things because I chose myself. Because I didn't want my son to grow up and be an asshole and disrespect women. That's it. Like I wish there was more to this story. I loved him. I thought that was my guy. I'm the only one who's going to talk bad about him up here. If anybody is going to be me. We're not doing that. So that's just where it's at. Like, people took a narrative and I just didn't give a fuck to clear it up. For what? Because it's at the end of the day, you guys are sitting here saying, well, I saw these videos, I saw this. You already had your mind made up. And
I did.
Absolutely.
I was on your side from day one.
But you implied that, like, you were saying that, oh, she tricked a sucker. Like, you called my baby daddy a sucker. No, he's not. We were in a relationship.
Well, you have to understand, we don't have the whole story. We only have.
Well, then why have a fucking opinion about my shit?
Because we're humans and you guys are considered celebrities at the time when we get the information. So most poor people, most non-famous people sit around all day long with opinions about celebrities. That's
All right, let's go ahead and just get a few thoughts about that. I guess we see it every day on the internet, right? People only get a glimpse of us. They don't get a glimpse of celebrities, and then regular folks, they just comment about it. It's what we're doing right now, right? Regular folks, and we comment on what they appear to be celebrity status. But I thought it was important. I mean, there were some things that kind of stood out for me as far as when she was discussing. Anything surprise you guys? Is it the same old story? Is it what you guys imagined and thought when it comes to her background? Go ahead, Sweeney.
She said, all right, I disagree with Charleston White when he said that we don't know the whole story. We do know the whole story because she told us the whole story. In fact, one of the things she just said was that he was a liar and a cheat. That wasn't what she called him the first time. She said that he wanted to do things the way he was going to do it, and she couldn't get him to change. And she wanted to do things the way she wanted to do it, and they just didn't work out. She didn't, you know what I mean? He wanted to have multiple women. He was cool with taking care of and all of that, but he was going to do his thing, and she wasn't trying to rock with that. That's the reason why she said that she left him. She told us the whole story. She's jumped up from podcast to podcast to podcast, telling us her whole entire life story. And she's going to sit here and pretend like we don't know what to assume about her. Whether she's the villain or not is neither here nor there. You made yourself the villain.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, Swing, the thing is, we don't know the whole story. But not to support her, I think that she's making a mistake by saying that. It's because we haven't heard his side. And the fact that she did flip-flop, it was that she wanted him to be a certain way, and he was like, no. And now suddenly he's this liar and cheater, and we broke up 87,000 times. It's like, I ain't hear that in the beginning. I heard that you wanted to be this, I heard a different version, but the only versions monogamy. The only versions that we heard was hers. The only versions that we heard we never heard his version, and he's just mum about it. And that, you know what? That's dope that he's like that. I'm glad that he's not falling for the shit and going on the chitlin circuit like she is. But be that as it may, we're only hearing her side of the story. Now, the thing about Charleston is when he says stuff like, hey, we haven't heard the whole side. We haven't heard the whole story. I think he's talking about, well, we don't know exactly what's going on in anybody's bedroom. We don't know what's going on in yours. To your point, Sweeney, your story is bouncing around, and we haven't heard this side at all. So we only hearing you. Only time that we hear about what's going on with you is from you. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people say, why do we care about these celebrities? Me being here in Hollywood, I live in Los Angeles, for those that don't know. I tell people time and time again that in order for the general population to have a conversation, we have to have a common denominator. We have to have something that we can all relate to. I tell people all the time, we talk about celebrities because we talk through them, not about them. The reason why we bring up the Jay-Z's and the Michael Jordans, we bring up the Brittany Renners and the Steve Harveys and the Lori Harveys and the Puff Daddies and the 50 Cents and all these celebrities. We bring up Summer Walker, or we bring up Sierra, or we bring up all these different celebrities and we talk about relationship stuff, is because all we do is take a celebrity that we can all relate to and assign them to the people that's in our lives that you don't know. I got people in my life. Yeah, they're just an avatar. So it's perfectly. So for those that out there saying, why y'all bother with these celebrities? You ain't even got nothing to do with their money. Why you care about what a bunch of $1 million paid football players is kneeling on the field for? What does that have to do with you? Because we're assigning that to how they're treating us at where we work at Home Depot. Because I have a version of Brittany Renner in my neighborhood, in my family, in my community, and you have a version of Brittany Renner in your community on the other side of the country. And then when we talk about Brittany, we simply assign our people to those people. Excuse my sales. We assign those people to that. So it's perfectly okay. That's the reason why we talk about I do not like it when people say, why are we talking about celebrities? Because if I don't talk about them, how am I going to get you to understand where I'm coming from with the people in my family?
Exactly.
That's why we use them as a centerpiece to be able to, I'm going to bring up Kanye so I can let you know the people in my life or myself that has an attitude like Kanye. And then you bring up somebody that you're dealing with in your neighborhood, like Sweeney at his barbershop or in his town, that's like a Kanye. And then we talk about Kanye to speak about who we have in our own lives. That's the only reason. So it's perfectly okay for people to talk about celebrities, but it's important that we get all sides of the story. So I think what Charleston is saying, in my opinion, and I'll pass it on, is I think he's saying, because her response was, then why do you have a fucking opinion? Well, he's right. Because that's what we do. We're human beings and we make opinions. And I'm basing my opinion on who I date, my baby mama, my wife, women and their husbands, and so on and so forth, based on your life that we can all relate to. And if we're only hearing a little bit that you've given us, then what the fuck you want us to do?